In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint a colour study of a landscape that features snow, a stream in the foreground and some conifer trees. Now, let me give you the backstory to this. I actually painted this scene a few years ago, I think in the year 2021, and I took these reference photos after a snowy day from the day before when working in Queenstown in southern New Zealand as an arborist. I was surveying some trees at the time. And I painted this scene, and whilst I was reasonably happy with the painting, I always felt that it could have been better. And now it's a few years on, I wanted to paint this again. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting a small 6x8 inch colour study, and I'm painting it on a linen panel. Now this is made by Seascape, and if you want to get some, I've put a link in the description box below. And the brand of paint I'm using is Blue Ridge Oils. And again, if you want to get some, I've put a link in the description box below. Now, as I was saying, I wanted to paint this again because I want to see how much I've progressed and how I would tackle this scene again. Now it's a few years, a few years has passed. My painting's obviously improved since then. My intention was to do a larger version of this painting, and actually at the time of making this video, I'm painting the larger version now. But before I get into a large painting, I always do a colour study first of all, and in fact prior to that, all my paintings, at least my studio paintings anyway, start on my sketchbook, where I'll literally plan the composition with some thumbnail sketches, and then I'll do a final sketch before I start painting. But the next stage after that is to do a colour study, and what this is just a little painting, a small version of your larger painting, and this allows you to see the road ahead. So you can start getting your colours and tones established. Also, you might need to make some changes, and it's a lot easier to make changes with a small colour study than it is if you get straight into a large painting and then you run into problems. That's going to be more difficult to fix. So we're starting off here with a small painting. Now, the other cool thing about these small paintings is they make great little paintings that you can just hang on your wall anyway. And I've sold loads of these as well. So they're little paintings in their own right. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting off with my darkest darks first. So these are in these conifer trees, and I've used a mix of ultramarine blue with a little bit of yellow ochre. There's also some of that burnt sienna I used to sketch out the composition. That's mixing in nicely as well. So helping to balance out the green, because there's red in burnt sienna and red is opposite to green on the colour wheel. So we're getting some colour complements there. But generally we're in the beginning stage, the ugly stage, and we're establishing the dark shadows first of all. So it doesn't look like much at this stage. Now in this particular colour study, I'm not worrying about detail, and especially not in the blocking stage. Really, I just want to focus on just getting the bones of the painting established and focusing on where those lights and darks are. So I'm using pretty big brushes for the size of the canvas here. As I say, it's a 6x8 inch linen panel, so pretty small. And the size of the brushes I was using here with these bristle flat brushes were number 6 and number 5. So reasonably big size for the size of the painting. Now let's establish some rules here for the tonal values. We'll find our darkest darks and our lightest lights in the foreground, and then as your landforms recede, your darks aren't as dark and your lights aren't as light. Now in the case of this painting, pretty much all of it is in the foreground. You could say those other trees on the right are a bit more in the midground, but very close to the viewer's eye. So we're going to be getting some dark darks here. We've got some dark values at the base of that stream where some of those rocks are. There's some mud. Then the conifer trees themselves are naturally dark in value, so we're going to get some dark shadows in those, especially occlusion shadows. Now trees are actually some of the darkest values in the landscape, so that's something to consider. However, the ground planes of the grass are much lighter in value, and in this case we're dealing with snow, and snow being white is obviously the lightest value that we can go, so we're going to get some pretty light values in the snow. Now those blue marks there that I've added in are where some of these snow shadows are, and as I said, snow is one of the lightest values that we can go, at least certainly snow that's in the foreground. So by painting in these shadows here, these snow shadows are going to be a lot lighter than say the shadows in these conifer trees. Now for the snow shadows here, they generally have a blue cast to them, and painting it with more of a blue cast is just going to look nice in your painting. You can have some nice natural, vibrant, organic colours. And for this I use mainly ultramarine blue with perhaps just a little bit of burnt sienna just to desaturate it a little bit. So burnt sienna is actually a dark orange, and orange is opposite to blue on the colour wheel. So when they combine, they kind of neutralise each other. The saturation is reduced, the colours cancel each other out. So if ever you want to desaturate a colour, i.e. the colour is too intense, then a way you can do this is to mix in its colour opposite. Also another way is to add titanium white. That will also help to reduce the saturation. However, it will make the value lighter, so it's something to consider. So anyway, first of all, as I begin this painting, I'm just thinking about where are all the darks and the shadows in the scene. Now, the shadows in the snow are actually pretty light, but I still include this in my darks because it's the shadows. So that's what I'm marking in here. Now then, once these shadows are all established, then I can start thinking about painting the areas in light. And the thing about painting your darks first is I think it actually makes it easier to then paint the areas in light in the scene, and also get the saturation of your colour correct as well. Now I actually learnt this through plein air painting, and there was a guy I was painting with, and he told me paint your darks first, because then it doesn't matter that the sun moves, the light's going to change, or if it suddenly clouds over. If you've got your darks established, it just makes everything easier when coming to paint the areas in light. And when I did this, I realised, wow, this makes things, a lot easier. And then I started applying it to my studio painting, and actually found that my studio paintings got easier to paint, and also my painting process actually speeded up. So my paintings started getting quicker, which is really good if you say, for example, you've got to get some paintings done, or you're doing an exhibition, or in my case, if you're creating content and you want to get more videos out, so you've got to get more paintings done. This is one of the ways that you can speed things up in the studio. Now then, we're still working on the shadows here. And as I said, I'm starting off with the darkest darks first. I'm not worrying about detail at all. All I want is the general impression of the place, getting the shapes of the trees and the other forms in the landscape, just getting those all established. Once that's all dry, then I can start thinking about adding detail. Now the cool thing about using big brushes is we're going to get some nice painterly brush marks there. So if you've been struggling with, your paintings are like, you feel like they're too detailed, or you're just, spending too much time on them and just ending up with like really tight looking detailed paintings, this is one of the ways you can loosen up. Just use big brushes to start with. Big brushes to the point that they'll make you feel uncomfortable using them, and don't worry about detail at all. Just focus on the values, the darks first of all, and just focus on getting the general shapes of the elements in the landscape. So here I'm painting in these trees. Now I'm not trying to paint every single branch or every single pine needle on there, for example, although these aren't pine trees, I think they're Douglas firs. But I'm not trying to paint every single detail from the get-go. I'm just really focusing on the general values in the scene. So I've got those darks in first, but then the next thing, painting the areas of the tree canopies that are in the light where the direct sunlight's shining on them, and just getting those half tones and the true colours in there. Now one of the other things when blocking in a painting is you don't want to go too light either to start with. We want to keep everything tonally darker, so that then we've got room to add lighter layers of paint as we work through the painting, building up those layers, and then we're going to save our lightest lights until last. So we're not going to go too light yet. So if you look at those trees there in the scene, I haven't gone completely light with the foliage at all. It's just a general colour of the foliage that's in light. There's plenty of room for me to add lighter layers of paint once this painting is dry. Now next I'm marking in the snow, and actually with the snow I've darkened the tone of that. So snow, when you look at it, isn't actually all completely white. It's various shades of light grey in a lot of cases, if you were to look at that on the value scale, that is. But colours such as, depending on the surrounding light, it could be a few warm tones in there, there could be some cooler tones, but I've mixed in a little bit of ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna, bit of yellow ochre and alizarin crimson, just all in small amounts, varying up those colours so that I'm getting some of those different tones in there. Now, I hope you're enjoying this video so far and that it's inspiring you to paint landscapes. If you'd like to learn more about painting landscapes, especially if you've been struggling, if you'd like to quickly improve your landscape painting, if you've been struggling with things like composition, colour and tone values, or you're just at that point in your painting where you've just plateaued and you can't seem to reach the next level, then come and join me at my art school. I have a 7-day painting course there that will help you to improve your landscape painting within 7 days. So it shows you my whole painting process that you can apply to your own artwork. Also, coupled with that, I'm offering a 7-day free trial as well. So you could join it for 7 days and do the 7-day landscape painting course and improve your landscape painting in 7 days. I do hope you'll stay, of course. And one of the other benefits of joining my art school is every week I do a live painting class as well. So you can see this in real time and you can ask me questions as well. So I hope to see you there. I've put a link in the description box below. Anyway, back to the painting. We're still in the blocking stage at the moment, but I've almost finished it. So I painted in the stream. I kind of varied the colours a bit compared to what was in the reference photo. I felt even now, after looking at this reference photo again a few years later from when I originally painted it, that perhaps the colours in them are a little bit cold and it could do with some warmer tones and a bit more vibrant colour in there, which is what I've added. So for example, the stream, I made that a lot more blue, and I've used ultramarine blue with a bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of phthalo green and some titanium white for the stream there. And then for those grasses that are poking out the top of the snow there, I've used varying combinations of yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, bit of cadmium yellow medium and some cadmium red light, and then also a little bit of phthalo green and titanium white, but I've mainly kept the green more on the sort of orangey olive side anyway. But at this point in the painting I was getting close to having the block-in stage complete, so I'd added in those lighter tones, and then one of the last thing I did during the block-in stage was just restate some of these dark values, so some of these shadows here. Just restating some of these snow shadows. The snow shadows are specifically what's going to give that snow a real three-dimensional look to it, and just the whole landscape in general. So shadows are important. You can paint landscapes that don't really have any shadows on it, like for example if the light is directly shining on the landscape itself. However, you've got to be a bit more on point with your tonal values. Now at this point the blocking stage was pretty much complete. I was adding a little bit of reflected light tones in the conifer trees there, and then I let the painting dry for a few days. Now then, the painting is dry, and what I do next is I focused on the light areas, so getting in more of the highlights. And normally I usually focus on the more difficult elements in the scene to get that out the way from the get-go. So for me, I felt that the conifer trees were the more difficult things to paint, so I just wanted to paint those first. But anyway, I started adding some highlight to the needles and branches that are in the trees. So for this I was using a mix of mainly yellow ochre with some ultramarine blue, a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. There's also some burnt sienna in there, a tiny bit of phthalo green and some titanium white. So now that I've added the highlights, I started working on other elements in the painting. So for example, the stream here. I felt that the stream could be a little bit darker, which is going to provide some more contrast in the painting to really help make that snow stand out. The next thing, I was painting some of the trunks of the trees that are on the left side of the painting. So for these colours here, I was mainly using combinations of burnt sienna with some yellow ochre and some ultramarine blue, especially for those darker parts of the trees, so the tree trunks and the branches and twigs. And then I was just adding in a subtle bit of highlight here. So this was a mix of mainly some yellow ochre, a bit of burnt sienna and some titanium white. I was actually applying it with a rigger brush, so this has got quite flexible bristles in it, and you can create some more defined, sharper points and marks with them. But anyway, I wanted a bit of light reflection on those branches. Then it was back to working on the conifer trees that were in the midground here. As I say, I'm not going overly detailed in general with this painting, but just adding a little bit of detail here. So we're into the modelling part. I actually did this painting in 2 sittings in general, so I didn't want to spend too long on it, mainly just because it's such a small painting, but I was really just dying to get into the actual bigger painting that I'm working on at the moment. So far at the time of making this video, I've only just blocked it in. And once it's finished, I will likely post this to YouTube as well. But what I'm doing here now is I'm painting the highlights on the snow. So we're going a lot lighter in value, and you can see how much lighter in value it is compared to those layers underneath. And for this, I was just using titanium white with a little bit of yellow ochre added to it. Now I wanted to add a bit more life to the stream there, so I was adding a few of these sparkles, and this is a really great effect that you can do with moving water, especially when the sun is out. And what you do is you just paint little dots of colour, so it's titanium white with just a small amount of yellow ochre. This just helps to warm up the paint, and I'm using a rigger brush again to add those little dots. I was also able to use the rigger brush just to add a few extra highlights within the snow. So as the painting was coming to an end, this is where you save your lightest lights until the end. And with that, this painting was complete and ready for me to use to paint the larger version of this scene. So I hope you enjoyed this little painting demonstration. If you'd like to learn more about painting landscapes, check out this video here, and also come and join me at my art school. I've put a link in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.